YouTubers, we're back out here in the shop. I'm working on something, woodworking project. I know I already entered the Frog Toads Simple Woodworking Project contest, but I talked to him last night and I said I have another project that I'm going to do and I need to do it, and I thought I'd videotape it and tag it to his video on his contest and try to get some more people involved in it. What I need, and I think a bunch of you out there probably need them too, new to reloading. I made these years and years ago and I need some more of them. They're loading holes there. This one here, the holes are 3/8 diameter, and they work great for like your 223 size cases. And these are 1/2 inch diameter, and they work great up to like a 45. Anything bigger than the 3/8 just about will fit in there. I used my radial arm saw for this, but you can do it on a table saw too. Personally, I think this right here is the most dangerous piece of equipment in my shop, because you have to pull this out like this to make your cut, and that blade is turning this direction, so it's wanting to bite and drive itself out, so you have to hold that thing back. And I really don't like that saw, but it's just handy for doing cut-offs like this. I bought a couple pieces of oak, and I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Ooh, that's not good. I've got 13 blocks of wood cut to the same length. Now I need to cut them to width, and I'll do that on my table saw. And since the place I get my wood from, it's a sawmill, and the sides are not finished, so I have to cut a little bit off of one side and then turn it around and cut off the other side for the finish. Now you might be asking, how do I get all those holes lined up like that? Well, back I made this little board. I measured it all out on there, and if you can see, there's a little hole at each one of these cross marks. And what I'll do is I'll lay this on my loading block, future loading block, and just tack a nail in there, and use an awl and punch through each one of those holes, or a little nail, and mark where each hole has to be. So let me get busy here on the table saw. Let me move the camera so you can see. This is my very old Craftsman table saw. I want to make my first cut at about 6 1/4, and I don't trust this anymore as being square. So what I do is I measure to the tooth that's going that way on that blade, and then I'll come out here and measure to this slot, to the edge of it, and that's 11 7/16, and I come back here and I'll get this end set at 11/16, and then come back out here – 11/16, tighten it up, and I'm happy. And then made the cut all on one side, adjusted this into the 5.5 finished size, spun them around and cut all of them off on the other side. So I've got all of these cut. Now it's time to start marking them for the holes. Okay, I centered the pattern up on top of my wooden block. I forgot to mention that each one of these holes is 1 inch apart all the way through. I tacked these 2 nails down in there to hold it in place, and then I just take this, and you got to remember it doesn't take much of a little ding in that wood to be able to see it for when you drill your hole. Hello again. It's Friday morning. Before I go to work, I came out here to finish getting all those little peck marks done. Excuse me. 13 of them. That's 650. My hand was getting cramped up from pulling that nail back out. Now here's what we're making. This has got 3/8 inch holes in it. This has got 1/2 inch. I went and got one of my 45-70s. Won't fit. I've never loaded 45-70, but I do have the dies and a rifle, so I need to get started doing that. I just don't shoot it very much. But a 5/8 will work. What I use to drill these holes are called Forstner bits. That's what they look like. They've got that little pin to guide to the hole or keep the drill going straight. And then that round part drills the diameter of the hole, but it leaves a flat bottom. So it's nice because your cases will sit right down in that hole and sit on a flat bottom, and they're a little more stable. So what I'm going to do first, I'm only going to do one of them with the 5/8 hole for the 45-70. Then I'll divide the rest of them in half, and I'll do half with a 1/2 inch and half with a 3/8 inch, and that'll give me quite a few loading blocks. Okay, we're here at my drill press. I want my drill bit up high enough that I can slip my piece of wood underneath it, and then I bring it down. I have it sitting on top of this vise when I'm drilling it. So I bring it down to where my bit is just about touching. I don't want it to touch, but it's close. And this up here is a stop. You can adjust, put that forward against there, bring that down to where you want it, so you're not going to poke through the bottom of the wood, and tighten that. And now that will automatically stop you before you go through the wood. I want this locked in place. I'm going to move that up just a little bit. Then you can check it with a piece of wood. There's the hole, and it didn't come through. Now we just line it up on top of each one of those. Well, a big mess. It's going to take some time. But there's the first row. So I'll get after it and bring you back in a little while. Okay, we're back. It is Saturday morning now. I've got my table saw set on a 45. I want to cut those angles on the sides of my... I want to bevel these edges just to make it look a little more finished. Now when you do this, you want to do the end grain first and then do the other end, because it's going to splinter out on this corner, and then when you do the sides, it'll take those splinters out. See how it's splintered right there? Looks like I need to sharpen my saw blade. Well, I'll get the rest of these done and get back with you. Well, here they are all laid out on my bench. I put newspapers down, then I always prop them up on little boards so they don't stick to the newspaper. I've got a couple old cans of this. I don't know how long ago I bought it, but it seems to be shaken up good and it's sprayed good, so I'm going to give them a good coat of this to protect them from all that lubricant that you're going to spray on cases to run them through your sizing die. Says it's fast drying. What I'll do is I'll give them a spray like this from 2 different angles on the top, and then when they're dry I'll turn them 180 degrees and do the same thing and give them a second coat. And the inside, all the holes should have a coat all the way around them. And it'll have a pretty good thick coat on the top. Okay, I got the floor cleaned up around the drill press and the table saw. Got first coat sprayed on these loading blocks, and I think I'll excuse me, tell you what the plan is. First of all, the Frog Toad is having the contest on simple woodworking projects. I can't believe he's only had 6 entries from everyone out there. There's got to be some simple woodworking project that you can do, or that you do for yourself, that you could show everyone else how you do it. We're all interested in learning new things around here. And as far as my projects, my first one was the spoon on the lathe. You don't have to use a lathe to do that. You can carve it with a pocket knife. And as far as this one, not everyone has a table saw and a drill press, but I bet you just about everyone knows someone that has a table saw and a drill press, and they'd probably really enjoy a visit from you and to show you how to use it and help you make these. They might even think, wow, I need some too. The nice thing to do would be to clean up the mess before you leave. But I'm sure they would enjoy a visit and enjoy showing you something they know how to do or have the ability to do to help you get a project like this done. What I'm planning on doing, these are my old ones here, but I'm going to send the Frog Toad one with the 3/8 holes and one with the 1/2 inch holes to add to his prize package for people who enter his little show and tell contest here, woodworking contest. So there's going to be some prizes from old Buck Run 11, Uncle Buck, to go in the pot there. Not that it's anything great, but I've been using those for years, and I decided I wanted to make more. So that's what I did, and I thought I'd just show you and enter it into the contest, because there's a lot of new reloaders out there, and not everyone has a progressive press. If you're reloading on a progressive press, you probably won't be using anything like this. But I do load a lot of rifle cartridges that I want to weigh every charge. And one of the things I used to do before I had a progressive, if I was loading like 44 mags, that's not something that I'm going to want to weigh every charge. I get my powder dropper that you throw the handle and it drops the powder. I get it all set up and running correctly, and I'd run my cases through my sizing die and put them with the mouth of the case down, and I'd fill up a loading tray. And when I had 2 trays done, I knew I had 100 cases done. Then I'd fill up my primer. I use a Lee Auto Prime, and then I'd take the case out, prime it, and put it mouth up. So now I know they've got primers in them and they're ready to drop powder in them, and then I just go along and fill every case with powder. And then of course you stop every 5 and then every 10 and until you're sure your powder measure's dropping perfect, and then you run them through your bullet seating die and put them in your load or your ammo box. That's how I used to load when I only had a single stage press. So those of you with single stage presses would really make a lot of use out of these. Well, I guess I've jabbered on long enough. Getting a good buzz going from this lacquer finish, and come back out in about a half hour, 45 minutes, and spin them around and put another coat on them. This finish is really soaking in, I can see that. So I hope you like my video. I hope you'll do a video for the Frog Toad. Thanks for watching.